If you want to learn how to calculate your proof of funds, then this is the video that you need. In this video, we're going to be calculating your proof of funds, finding out whose statement you can use. Is it yours? Is it your cousin's? Is it your brother? Is it your uncle's statement? What are some of the do's and don'ts that you don't want to mess with? And what are some of the mistakes that some people have made that have actually cost them their visa? Hello and welcome to my channel. My name is Roslyn, and in this video we're going to be breaking down what constitutes proof of funds. How do you arrive at the final amount that you're supposed to have in your bank statement that should accompany your visa application? So for your proof of funds, you're going to be needing two separate fees. One is the balance of your tuition from the school that you're going to. It doesn't matter if you're going for an undergraduate program or a postgraduate program, you're going to have tuition fees, right? Except you're a scholarship student, then this video I would say is not for you, or this part of it is not for you if your scholarship does not cover living cost. However, for most people, you're going to have fees and you're going to have made a certain amount in deposit. So maybe 1,000, 2,000, 3,000, 5,000, 10,000, depending on the amount that you have paid. If there is a balance minus the deposit you have made to the school, then you should have this balance in your account. So for instance, if your school is £15,000 and you've made a deposit of £5,000 to secure your place in the course and gotten your CAS, then you have a balance of £10,000 left to pay to the school. This amount must be shown in your bank statements as at the time you're applying for your visa. The second amount, however, is a fixed amount. Unlike the first amount, it differs for every single person, right? So if you are going to a school that is 15,000 and the minimum deposit is 3,000, you can decide to pay 5,000, 7,000, 8,000, clear your school fees, right? Just not below 3,000. So if you have three people going to the same school, one has made 5,000, one made the minimum, which was 3,000, another made 10,000. Their proof of fund requirement or proof of fund amount in your bank statement would differ. Now, for the second fee you have to account for would be your living costs. So for the UK, they have a set amount as living costs. This amount changed. So the previous amount was 12,006 if you were in London. This is supposed to cover a 9-month living cost fee for you, and 9,207 if you are going to be outside London. But this amount has changed. I'm just going to check. So now for London, you're going to need 13,347. I have it written down here in case you're wondering. And then for outside of London, you're going to be needing 10,220. So this is the new amount you have to account for. So how long are you supposed to have this money in your account? For the purpose of applying for your visa, you should have a bank statement with this full amount for 28 days. So you have to count from when the money became complete, right? It has to be complete before you can start counting your 28 days. Also, try as much as possible not to rush. Sometimes you see people using a 27-day statement or a 28-day because you're pressed for time and all that. I would advise you apply for your study on time so that you don't have issues with this and unnecessary delays that it can cause for your visa. So who can sponsor you? Whose bank statement can you use for your visa application? For the UK, unlike say Canada, where you can actually have your brother sponsor you, your uncle sponsor you, your parents sponsor you, as long as you can prove that they've always assisted you maybe in the past and show how this is something that wants to continue or something like that. For the UK, they don't care about all that. Your brother, your sister, someone says, oh, I have a brother in the UK and he wants to sponsor me, he wants to give me his account. I have my sister in Canada, she wants to send her account to sponsor me to the UK. None of that shit will work. No matter where they are in the world, as long as they are not your parents and they are not your spouse. So the only two people that can sponsor you without issues would be your parents and or spouse. Your mom, your dad, or both, or your spouse. Also, in place of your parents, if you have legal guardians, right, this has to be backed up by the legal documentation from the court. So if you have a legal guardian who has taken care of you, maybe since you were little, and if this happens to be your brother, your uncle, or someone who adopts you, then that will also fly in case of parents. So outside of these two, if there's anyone who wants to sponsor you, the person has to send the money to your account. So if your brother in the UK, your auntie in Nigeria, your sister in Canada or the US, they want to sponsor you, they need to make this money available to you, and this money has to be sitting pretty in your account. Okay, so these are the options that you have if you're having individuals sponsor you. So what are the do's and don'ts when you're preparing your bank statement? 1, wait for the 28 days. Don't rush. Wait for the 28 days. 2, please, I'll advise you wait at least 1 day after a large deposit comes into your account before you start counting. So some people have printed, let's say, on the day a huge chunk of money comes in, especially if that is either 100% of the amount you need or a huge chunk of what you need for your proof of funds. So say you need 25 million and 21 million comes in on the 1st of March, and you print from 1st of March to 28th of March, you're going to have a problem, because they want to know where that money came from, who sent the money, they're going to ask questions, right? So the best thing you can do, or the best thing you need to do, is to print from minimum of a day after the deposit was made, the huge deposit was made. So I would advise that, that is what you observe. I would also tell you to calculate well. We're doing currency conversion here, right? So if, as at today, I don't know what the exchange rate is today, but it is a bit over 2,000 to a pound, 2,000 naira to a pound. Now, if you're converting this money, say you need about, for instance, you need about 21,000 pounds in your account, and you're converting this money with 2,000, because today the pound is exchanging for 2,000, and you converted it using 2,000 as exchange rate, and you have that exact amount sitting in your account, then this is dangerous, because as at the time your 28 days is completing, there might be some fluctuations, and it might actually fluctuate above 2,000. And if there is any slight difference, it doesn't matter how little, if it amounts to just £1 or 50 cents or whatever, then it might lead to a rejection. Okay, you don't want to risk this. So the best thing to do is to have a buffer. If 2,000 is the current exchange rate, then have 2,002 or 2,003 or even 2,005 as your exchange rate. Okay, so if you're needing, say, 25 million, you have 27 million or 26 million in your account. This will account for any sudden jump and any unnecessary issues you're going to be having due to the fluctuating currency. The next thing I want to talk about is a mistake a lot of people make, and this is having huge deposits or huge withdrawals. Okay, so say from the start of your bank statement you already have a complete fee of 25 million as an example, and 3 or 4 days later 3 million comes in, 4 million comes in, and then 2 million leaves the account. Why are you having such huge transactions? Why? So if you're watching me and you're not Nigerian, this is also the case depending on what your currency exchanges for, the pound. Why are you having such huge transactions? They're going to ask. Okay, they're going to ask, why did these transactions occur? And they are going to be specific about them. They will highlight, give me a reason why this transaction, X transaction occurred, and it's not something that you want to deal with, because in most cases you need to provide documentation. So if it was payment for a service, you might want to provide maybe the receipt, the invoice, If someone paid you your rent, or you paid rent, you want to show that purchase of land or sale, whatever the case, right? You need to show why that money left your account or why that money came in. So advice: don't have any huge inflows or outflows. Simply have very minor everyday transactions, such as ordering for a ride, paying for a delivery service, going shopping, buying, paying your subscriptions, buying a couple of things online. So just normal everyday transactions that don't raise any eyebrow. But anything that is huge, you run away from it. And besides, it's just 28 days, right? It's just 28 days. You can have another bank account where you run all your major transactions if you do have to have such transactions, within that time frame that you're waiting. Just not in that account that you're looking to submit to the UKVI. So it's just better to avoid unnecessary issues than at the end of the day receiving an NSF from UKVI requesting this transaction, this transaction, this transaction, give me evidence, and then you're running helter skelter looking for who to help you. What documents am I going to? How am I going to provide the documents? How am I going to explain what the transactions were for? And even if you have cogent reasons, because I've had people who have cogent reasons, especially people who maybe use their parents' account, and the parent is a busy person, a business person that has huge inflows and outflows, they will ask, right? Now, what we advise during that period is, sir, ma, just leave this period, or just allow for your account to breathe. Nothing huge, nothing out of this world, until that 28-day period is over. Okay, use another account, because it can lead to unnecessary delays, especially if your course start date is close. So I've had people who this reason has actually cost them their visa. It wasn't refused. I wouldn't say it was refused, but it didn't come out in time, and the school withdrew their CAS and automatically deferred them to the next session. So which means your visa fee is gone, your IHS is gone. If your visa was actually gotten, but you can't use the visa, you can't get your IHS back, you can't get your visa fee back. So it's just unnecessary waste of money, waste of time, waste of energy, a whole lot of stress. So it's better you don't have to cause unnecessary delay. If you want to know more about this, you can watch my NSF video that is already on this channel, where I explain about NSFs. What you need to know is that anything that causes you to receive an NSF, a non-straightforward email from the UKVI, it restarts your application for another 15 days. And it doesn't matter if you are paid for priority or super priority or whatever. So it's better you avoid things that are going to cause unnecessary delays, okay? Now, finally, this is something a lot of people do. Most get away with it, but some don't. Please do not remove the money from your account. Don't remove it. It might be tempting to pay for one or two things. If you need 25 million and you want to quickly remove 2 million to make one or two arrangements because you're traveling, or you're expecting some 5 million and you take out 5 million to do one or two personal things because 5 million is coming from somewhere and you're going to make up that money. Or you even remove the whole money from your account while your visa is still processing. It's dangerous. Because part of the things the UKVI will do during your visa application is to verify your documentation. And what happens if they check with the bank and find out that the money has been moved? This has led to countless visa refusals. Okay, so you don't want to do that. Now, in addition to this, sometimes they don't actually, well, depending on your bank, most banks don't actually release the exact amount in your account. And so what the UKVI will do, they would request for your current statement. So they might determine the dates that they want you to send. So they might say, okay, print from X date till current, and you've removed the money from your account, or you've removed 1 million out of it, and so it's no longer up to the £21,000 that you need to provide in your bank statement. How do you explain that? So it's just best you leave the money for as long as it is necessary for you to get your visa out. And if you want to get your visa out pretty fast, then I advise you not to make silly mistakes that will cause unnecessary delays. One, two, apply on time. When you apply really close to your intake, then there's a lot of applications also coming in from all around the world. This extends the timeline that you need to wait. So I know people who have applied and gotten their visa in 2 days, 3 days because they applied so early. You're expecting it in 3 weeks and you're getting it in 2 days. Expecting it in 3 weeks, you're getting it in less than a week. I've seen 2 days, I've seen 3 days, I've seen 5 days. Most get it before 2 weeks when you apply on time. But if you apply pretty close to your intake, pretty close to the rush hour, then it might be meeting the 3 weeks or extending to 4 weeks. I've seen 6 weeks, I've seen 7 weeks. Unnecessary, endless waiting. So, first things first, have all your documents. Ensure that you're not required to submit documents via NSF emails because you have some unanswered questions that they need to, answer. Or you're submitting late and this causes automatic delays because of all the applications they need to see. If you do this, then you probably will not need to wait for so long until you have to use the money in your account to sort certain things that you have to do before your trip. So, I hope I've been able to answer most of the questions that you had. But if not, please drop comments in the comment section. I will do well to answer your questions. However, if you have specific questions, especially questions that you don't want to put out there, then you can reach out to me personally. But mind you, this is a paid service. I have a link in my description that takes you to the page where you can actually pay to consult with me. Now, you can have a simple consultation, you can have a document review, or you can actually have me help you with your full application, okay? But if it's something simple, please just drop a comment and I'll be responding to the comment. Until next time, bye for now.